Garlic, they are tasty. Tasty garlic. Smell the taste of garlic.
Hi, I'm Alexa and welcome to Sandals and Steel Toes. Today we are going to be harvesting garlic. I have 4 varieties of garlic growing in my garden here in Northeast Ohio, which we planted on Halloween, October 31st of 2021. That was actually 8 months ago, or 37 weeks, or 261 days. Garlic takes a long time to grow, and in most places, especially for me, I live in a northern climate, we need to put our garlic in the ground before it gets very cold out because those garlic bulbs need to freeze under the soil and have a very long growing season. And then in the springtime, when all the snow is gone and it starts to warm up, that's when they actually start to grow and produce the green stalks that you may be familiar with. And we let the garlic continue to grow until around July. And for me, I usually will harvest my garlic around July 4th, but I'm a few weeks behind this year. So some key things that we want to be looking for when we know it's time to harvest our garlic is that are the bottom 4 leaves of your garlic plant brown. So here's an example of what that would look like. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's actually the 5 bottom leaves, and the top ones here are browning also on this plant. And that's how it looks for pretty much every single garlic plant I have in my garden here. So today is July 20th, and I'm about 2 weeks behind pulling up my garlic than I had expected. The thing you have to remember with gardening is it's not always going to be an exact measurement. Depending on your weather condition, your soil, a lot of factors play into when your harvest is actually going to be ready. So I was really trying to practice patience in this season and really watch my garlic and pay attention to when it was ready. And in this year, it was 2 weeks later than I had actually planned for, but that's okay because today's the day that we're gonna pick the garlic. So I have my handy dandy notebook here. This is just a little gardening journal that I've been filling out for the last few years, and I use it to capture mostly the dates that I'm starting seeds or planting something out in the garden. Not so much harvest dates because that is all over the place and I harvest things at all kinds of times, just depends when something's ready. But I actually might log the garlic since this is a full crop harvest and not just one thing. So I pulled out my notebook because I couldn't remember the varieties that I grew, and so we have Persian Star, Amish Rocambole, White German, and Music. And the White German and Music I grew from 2020 fall into 2021. I harvested that in 2021. I have a video of that harvest. I will link that. Those 2 varieties did really good. The Music was amazing. I had huge bulbs. It was fantastic for my first real season growing garlic, and definitely wanted to do that again. So I actually have a lot of the White German and Music varieties because what I did was saved half of all of my garlic cloves that I harvested from 2021, so that way I could replant all of those again. And basically what I'm trying to achieve here is multiplying my seed stock basically for my garlic. So last year I did 100 garlic bulbs. In this planting I did 300 because I saved half of my cloves from last year's harvest. Because if you think of a garlic bulb, you have 1 bulb, but it might have 4 to 6 cloves, or 8, whatever, depending on how many your variety has. And you just save half of them, half of all your cloves. And you replant them, and then you don't have to buy garlic to plant in the fall if you are saving it. And it does take a couple years, but in time you can really multiply your crop just by saving your own cloves. So that's what I did. I also did want to try a couple other varieties, which is the Persian Star and Amish Rocambole. I got those both from M.I. Gardener, and actually right now is a good time to be ordering your garlic if you want to plant it this fall. It's not the right time to plant your garlic. In northern climates, you want to do that after your first frost, so probably late October into November is when you're going to want to plant your garlic. But seed companies start to get their orders in now in the middle of summer, so go ahead and get your garlic ordered if you need to. But yeah, let's go ahead and pull these out. I'm ready to have some fresh garlic again. So in the first row here, I have the Persian Star garlic, and I don't have as much of that one since this is a new crop, new variety, and look at this one. This one is so dried up. It's like begging to be pulled, probably some time ago. All right, first garlic, and let's see what we have. That's nice. Some of these are a little smaller. Kind of expected some of that. Okay, so we've got 26 garlic bulbs here of the Persian Star. This one is a really nice size. And what I'll do with these is I will, you know, kind of brush the soil away gently from them. But they are all pretty damp. We've got some heavy rain in the last few days, so these definitely need to be dried out and cured before we store them, and I'll talk more about that later after we get the rest of the harvest pulled up. So I did want to make a note of what the difference is in your garlic when you cut the garlic scapes versus when you don't cut the garlic scapes off. In a previous video, I talk about garlic scapes, what they are, how to harvest them, when to harvest them. This is a garlic scape that I missed. And as you can see, it has been trying to create a flower, and I actually have another one out there, which I'll show you. But this is what they look like when they're trying to make a flower. And the reason that we want to cut these off is because the bulbs on the bottom, they don't get as big when we leave them on, because all of that energy is going into creating a flower instead of a nice big bulb. Oh, here's another example. This one is a little bit further along. It's just starting to open to make the flower, and I could still use this part. I can cook this part. Don't let any of your garlic go to waste. You can use the whole thing. But just want to show you the difference in size between these two. So this one here had the scape cut off, and you can see how big that is compared to this one that did not have the scape cut off. And both are usable. This is still usable, but you can see the difference. For this bulb, all the energy has went into forming seeds up at the top, whereas this one got to make a nice fat bulb, and this is going to be better for eating and cooking than this one. So that is why it's important to cut your garlic scapes as soon as you start to see them form and they kind of start spiraling. Cut them so you can have great garlic. Okay, so in the next row here is the Amish Rocambole, so let's go ahead and pull that out and see what that looks like. Okay, so the Amish Rocambole actually are pretty nice. I got some nice big ones in here. Brush this away. So that's a nice big size. This one's pretty small. But for the most part, they all look pretty good. And this is a hardneck variety. Everything I'm growing is hardneck. How many do we have? So we have 25 of the Amish Rocambole 2. I'm happy with them. They look good. I did find one that was looking kind of rotten. I see what you're doing. So this one kind of looks a little rotten. I may be able to just quickly use this right away and not save it. I don't think I'll be able to save it, but you can probably cut this, right? It's still is still firm enough to be used. Okay, so far we've got 50 of them up, and there's about another 250 to go. Okay, so in the next 3 rows are the music variety, and music has been my favorite. It is really big, it is really delicious, it's stored excellent through the entire winter. I have nothing but good things to say for the music variety. It's a hardneck. I have 3 rows planted of the music. I put in 103 cloves of music last year, which means this year I should have like 300 to 400 cloves of music, which is pretty awesome. So that's, you know, where I'm saying you gotta keep saving your cloves, save half every year, replant them, and it's just gonna multiply. It's not gonna take very long. I feel like after this year of saving, I'm gonna have a lot, and we're gonna be in a really good place to really never have to buy garlic again. So I did mention there was a couple scapes that I missed. This is one of them. See how that looks. It's just starting to form the flower, and the bulb for this one's probably gonna be a lot smaller. Let's actually pull that one first. Let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah. This is tiny. Look how small this is. Okay, let's pull another one that has the scape cut off for comparison. Big. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at those. See? If you are on the fence about leaving your garlic scapes, don't. That is a huge size difference. Huge. But you can see, music is amazing. It is so big. It is such a nice color. It's like the perfect garlic. I can't say anything more to recommend music. And if you're growing hardneck garlic, it's so good. So I just pulled up 136 bulbs. Now I thought I only had 103 of the music variety, so I think some of these may be the white German and I just messed my rows up a little bit. But they are all very big. I think this one may be the biggest I've found so far. This one grew together. So I'm up to 186 between all these, the Amish and the Persian Star. And I've got 2 rows left, so let's get them. All right, the last crop, we've got 66 here of what I believe to be white German. I do think there's some white German mixed in with the music. That's all right. They'll all taste the same. Here is a close-up of what this white German tends to look like. They're white and they have really pretty pink red streaking, and as these cure and dry out, that red will get more prominent. Hi, chicken. Hi, chicken. Alright, so that's a lot of garlic. That last batch was 66 bulbs. And so now I've added up everything and I've got 252 garlic bulbs, which is actually I'm about 50 short from when I planted. I planted 301 cloves, so somehow I'm about 50 short. So I'm guessing they just didn't come up. Maybe they're still in the ground here. I do have a handful in the house that I've already pulled up. That may be like accounting for 15 of them. So I'm not too far off from what I planted, but so yeah, and as of now I've got 252. I'll do another count and then we'll come back and talk about how we cure the garlic for long-term storage. Okay, so it's later in the day and now we're gonna talk about curing your garlic. So curing garlic is really important. Basically what that means is we pulled out our garlic bulbs and now they're kind of soft. The outside of the bulbs they've been in the ground, so they've been exposed to moisture, and we need to let them dry out and have the outside of the bulb be more papery. So if you think of an onion or a garlic bulb that you buy from the store, the outside is very papery. It just kind of peels off very easily. When we first pull the garlics out of the ground, they're not like that. The skins don't peel off really well. There's just like moisture from the soil on this. So we need to allow this to dry out and cure in a darker, cool location, basically just out of the sunlight. And that's gonna let these dry out and their flavors are also going to develop more. So you can eat your garlic right out of the garden. I have done that and it tastes fine, but the flavors do enhance more when you allow them to cure. So I'm in our garage slash barn. It's an old barn and we use it as our garage space. We don't keep animals in here. And I am setting up my curing station. So here I have 2 sawhorses and I have a bunch of planks. This is old flooring. We redid the floors in our living room in 2018. So we had a bunch of planks left over that we saved. And so I thought these would work good. I saw this idea, I think it was on Instagram. I don't remember the account, but they had just like boards, planks, whatever kind of wood you have set up in this way. And I'm just putting the garlic down like this, face up, making sure it's, you know, tight enough so these can't fall through. And here's a batch of garlic, and there's garlic, and there's garlic up there. I don't know if this is gonna be enough for all the garlic, but I'm gonna try and get most of it within these 3 rows here. And I'm gonna leave this here for at least 2 weeks to cure. And I got all my garlic in the barn just in time because now it is starting to rain. I took my son to football practice and I got home and I saw the forecast that we were expecting a storm, and it is here. So happy to have the rain. This is great. But I had my garlic outside on a table all day while I was at work, so that was good timing. So you don't want your garlic to get wet. Once you pull it out of the ground, it is important to get it to a dry location as soon as possible. Any type of moisture that gets on the bulbs is going to potentially cause them to mold if they are kept in a damp area. It may just make your curing time longer, so don't leave your garlic in the rain. I almost did, but we got it out just in time. And you'll want to make sure that any loose dirt is brushed off when you're curing them. I mean, they don't have to be sparkly clean and you don't want to wash them, but just kind of like brush off any loose dirt. And that will just help them cure better. So I've got all of the garlic finally laid out. That took me probably like an hour and a half. I have a lot of garlic. So these 2 rows here are the music variety. And then this section here is the Persian Star. And down here is the Amish Rocambole. So lots of garlics all in here. And then I did this last year with the lattice fencing. I weaved all of the white German variety onto this piece of lattice fence, and I will let these cure here. This worked out really well last year when I did it. So if you have an old piece of lattice fence, this is a great way to repurpose it for your garlic. So basically just kind of stuck the stalk in here and weaved them through, and I have like two bulbs per hole there. So this is gonna do well to cure here. So that will do it for today's video on harvesting the garlic and how to cure it. I'm going to let this garlic sit for the next 2 weeks in my garage barn here. And then we'll talk about how to store your garlic for the long term, so through the winter. I might try some braiding. This is hardneck variety, so it's a little bit different of a braid, but I have been looking up some ideas on that. And we'll talk about some preservation ideas, and maybe we'll do some taste testing of the 4 different varieties that I'm growing this year. So stay tuned for more garlic content. I love garlic. I love growing garlic. It's such an easy crop to grow. Plant it in the fall and then forget about it until the heat of summer. But it's so good for you, and it can be used in so many ways. So more garlic content to come. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and follow along for more gardening content. Do something you love today, everybody, and have a great day. Bye.